Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, and today we're at the Dinosaur State Park, so let's head over to the casting area first to see if we can get our footprints set up to cast. So here we're at the trackway casting area. We have Eobrontis footprints, which are a close relative to Dilophosaurus. So let's go ahead and get started casting and get ourselves a really cool souvenir.
Looks great. Okay. So, and then you guys can grab your vegetable oil.
Other bucket.
Okay, so like every cake that you make, you don't want your cake to stick to the pan. So we're going to oil the track and the inside of the ring itself. So I'm just gonna put the ring on top. You don't have to do anything crazy, just make sure it doesn't pool, and you'll put the vegetable oil on the track and then just rub around the ring just to make sure everything is fully covered.
All right, perfect.
Alright, also you guys, we have rags or paper towels? We have
Both.
paper towels. Okay, and rags.
We didn't know how much we needed,
This
so.
is amazing. You guys are so fully equipped.
Is that?
Yeah,
dry
as long as
spot.
it's not like pooling too much, and make sure you get the inside of the ring too. Yeah. Okay. So we're all involved. Everyone can take a rag.
Beautiful.
There we go. And we are going to have rags go on the outside of the ring. This is just in case, because it's not like the most even thing. If our batter decides to get out, then we can we'll stop it from leaking out. So you'll just do that and then wrap it around. Did you want to do a rag? Okay. I always like to do extra.
I think that'll be fine. I think that's fine.
Okay, so now we're gonna mix the plaster of Paris. So we need 10 pounds. So is that a 22 pound bag?
It's a 25-pound bag.
25 pound bag. So we'll do a little less than half of that in the bucket. We also, to make your life easier, actually, I do have. So we're not doing guesswork. This is 4 pounds. This is 8 pounds. So we'll fill this up completely with plaster, and then this one halfway up with plaster. So then we have exactly 10 pounds. And then we'll pour it into the big bucket just so it's not crazy.
This is the 8-pound one.
Yep. Great.
That's a bit.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Who wants to mix?
I can help.
Okay, I'm gonna hand you. You're gonna eventually just need to use your hands. But while he's finishing up that.
I'll probably take off my watch.
Oh yeah, no, I would not have any rings with jewelry on. You'll get it lost in there. We're just gonna hold off on pouring that into here for just a hot second. Okay. Okay, so you can start. We're gonna mix the plaster. Let me mix it a little bit. Gorgeous. Okay, and then if you want to pour the rest of that little bit of plaster in while he's doing that. Okay. And then once you feel like you got that somewhat used to it, it washes right out if it's any consolation.
Oh yeah, I know.
You'll get dirty. You're probably just gonna want to get your hands in there and break up all the clumps. You don't want any chunks. So scrape the sides of the bucket and also the bottom to get all the clumps out. So we don't want a clumpy cake batter. And I will check it once you feel like you've got most of them out. Where are you guys from again?
Us four from from South Carolina. He's from
Florida.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
We have Dino Day tomorrow.
Too bad we're leaving.
Oh, yeah.
We're heading over to DC to let's start going to New York to see the M&H tomorrow.
Oh, very cool.
I'm gonna go
Before me.
Damn chunks.
I'm gonna go with you. Kind of stand here with me.
Yeah. I want to see how much more white we can get.
Not much more than that.
I don't know. No, I gotta take off mine too.
My ring's off.
How many times has somebody just dropped a ring in there? And
Never got it back.
I don't know. I haven't had that issue, but there's one time a little girl left her bracelet and I just brought it back to her.
That's so sweet.
Yeah, it's a thing. Alright, I
You
can
need
get
like a
in there.
blender or something.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be like absolutely perfect. Yeah, you got most of that. Okay, so we are going to let this sit for a second. So when I'm flicking it, I'm checking if it makes like big divots in it, and it's not, like the craters aren't settling. Once it settles a little bit, then we can pour it in. And then once it's poured in, we can do like a handprint. You guys can write whatever you want in it.
Cool.
I will let you rinse your hand off though. You look like you're having a sensory nightmare. So. And they'll come off with clothes super easy. There's so many times where I go and do animal demos right after this, and I'm just like covered in plaster. And it rinses off. You just hose your shoes off. It's fine. Nah. Cool.
So let's do the first one.
Yeah, I might have to pass you guys off to another person. That being said, though, I can also just get you guys set up, because once you do it, it's pretty straightforward. Just because I have to go do an animal demo at 10.
Yeah, because I was just thinking about that, because
Yeah.
we can just do 2 at once. I guess.
I mean, you guys know that, you know the gist. We can do.
Yeah, we can
set that up while that's set.
Promise not to break anything.
What do you mean? Why'd you
I'm
point
messing
at
with
me?
you. I'm messing with you.
If you guys want to set up.
I know I'm a bull in a china shop, but come on, I can't break that.
So same thing. We'll just get the debris off,
I got you on this one.
Okay. See.
and I will call you guys over.
Can we dry these off with a towel? Or?
Yeah, I would. You don't like water and the oil don't obviously mix, so I'll dry that off. Fortunately, this is the only one under a 10, and it's been raining like crazy recently.
Get it.
Ridiculous.
That's a little weirder because it's just mud now. do one of each.
I don't know if she'd let us do one of each. You can ask.
That's good. We have enough materials here.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, if it won't come off your finger now, it probably won't come off while you're doing the casting. So you should.
That seems like a good rule.
Yeah.
So you should be okay. Just be mindful when you're mixing it.
Yeah.
Let me check this.
Yeah. This.
So yeah, you guys can once that is boiled up,
Look at that
um,
stuff on here.
Pretty good.
well, we can mix the plastic.
I can get it off if if I use like soap or something.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like it's coming off your circulation.
We literally don't have any
It's
space
not
in the
as-
car.
not that
Mind if I show you where we can do
Yeah.
stuff?
Yes, we take locations.
Good. Perfect. Okay. Fine. It's a little
I
slow.
would have rather that than just
Yeah.
having to toss
no,
it.
you're okay.
Enough of the baby oil, man.
No jokes. No jokes.
Oh, come on. Miss a spot.
It makes your hands smooth. It's just the lubricant.
Yeah, it's those little bits that are worth.
Yeah, I mean those are not like a huge deal because you got all the big chunks out. The little ones are almost impossible to get out unless you're like here for a billion years. At that point, you're already set.
Yeah.
It's not really worth it.
Dang, you know, we should have brought a sifter. You know, we've gotten out all the little clumps ahead of time.
Eh.
I mean, we have tiny ones for Put a little bit more of plaster in to see if that will help. It is. Yep. This is the warning. But yeah, if you guys want to start getting, like, measuring out the plaster for the second one, you can. Same
Use that
spiel.
bucket.
So, full in the smaller bucket. Well, this smaller bucket, and then half of the tiny one.
Just dump her. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Put a little more in there. Let's put a smidge more in there. Don't inhale it.
Too late. I'm gonna die now.
You're not supposed to breathe it.
I already measured the
Oh,
water for you guys.
You make cuts. You make cuts.
I need someone else.
Catherine.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Awesome. And then you can just start pouring.
Do I just?
Yep, just full send it.
Oh, 5 minutes. You gotta go.
That is my cue. Cool. Okay, so then we are just going to pass some of the bubbles out, just because like if you're making a cake, you don't want bubbles because it won't cook evenly. So same thing, this won't set evenly otherwise. Okay. So if you guys saw earlier, just because I have to bounce in a second.
Or just dump it. Literally just dump it in.
Dude, Okay then.
Cool. Looks great.
Awesome.
So, and then we'll just tap
Dang, we
tap
didn't seal that
tap
side.
the sorry. like tap it out like this. So you want to get the bubble. And then once this gets a little bit more set, if you guys want to write anything in it.
The rings of power. The rings of plastic.
Isn't normal Steeple kind of dinosaur Steeple?
No!
I love dinosaurs.
Crocodiles, man, not dinosaurs.
Different archosaurs.
Yes, but still not dinosaurs.
He did a lot with birds.
More
We might
crocodiles.
want paper towels to soak some of that up, but it might be too much.
You overdid it.
Okay.
It happens to the best of us.
It's better to be over
This one's already open.
It's better to be over prepared than under prepared.
Yep.
Yeah, just because if it pulls too much, it'll.
I think outside is probably less worried about.
Just where it pulls.
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. All right. We'll rinse and repeat.
Make sure you lotion up the ring.
Did. Only bit I didn't get with that, probably.
Self out.
How's that water-wise?
That's good. But you can pour the rest. Yeah, that's pre-measured, so I already.
Thank you. Oh yeah. Well, that's just people being a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
So while we wait for our footprint cast to dry, let's head on inside of their museum and see what they have. While we wait for the plaster to dry on the tracks, we're coming into their awesome indoor giant dome museum. It's pretty cool looking. But one of the first cool things you see, past all of the living lizards and turtles and things like that, is this beautiful track that was excavated. You have the indent side right there and the extrusion side right there, two sides of the same trace fossil. One thing I noticed right off the back, I don't know if this is broken off or missing, but this entire toe is missing. I'm curious if that means it's some kind of Maniraptor dromaeosaur. Who knows? Does it actually say? It does not. But this is definitely a theropod. You do have the remnants of these giant three toes, which does mean it is a theropod track. If we come over here, we actually have some more well, on this side we have some more theropod tracks. You have one there, one there, one there. Beautiful trackway. If I'm remembering straight, it is either Eobrontis or Dilophosaurus here at Dinosaur Ridge. We do have some cool Edward Hitchcock trace fossil details here, along with some just actual fossil bone right there, and a big old trace fossil, well, actually a pretty small trace fossil right there. Very beautiful work here. So let's actually go further into the museum and see what we discover. So here we actually have a lot more of a trackways. This is basically the Dinosaur Ridge of the Northeast, and most likely the entire East Coast. So right off the bat here, we have this Eobrontis track. This is a negative track, meaning that it would be negatively extruding and taking out of the other one, while the positive would be positively indented. We'll go over more of that in the detail, but this is our Eobrontis track, which is actually the track that we're getting a cast of out there. This is the common track around here. Here we have Bataracopus, I guess, which is a small crocodilian track. So you'll see these little scuttle mark kind of things here, made by small crocodilians. Crocodilians first appeared in the fossil record. But here, behind this glass, in these giant trackways, is Otozoum. These large negative tracks were made by a heavy animal that walked on 4 toes and had a short stride. It may have been a prosauropod. All of these tracks are very rare skin impressions with specimens. This specimen was removed from Portland, Corey in 1896. So these are actually prosauropod tracks, which are the the ancestors and like the early ancestors to the sauropods while they still walked on 2 legs. So think of things similar to Plateosaurus and things like that. Similar to that, possibly onto 4 legs already, considering the way these tracks were. These is probably a 2-legged one, but this is a prosauropod track. Here we have a negative off-printing of tiny toe overprints were often misclassified by scientists who did not understand their relationship with true tracks. This is just another example of negative off-putting tracks. This is an invertebrate trail. So you'll see this little scuttle here if you follow that. That is some kind of trace fossil of a crawling arthropod. It is pretty difficult to identify things like arthropods from just their trackways, considering that it's literally just a little scuttle, unless you get it with it. Here, we get some more positive and negative tracks. This is Antipus, which is a small trackway from a little lizard-like, so you can see those little lizards scuttling along. This is Garrulator. This track type, you see them right there, kind of. There is a 3 parallel toes, kind of. Ooh, it went dark. A long middle toe is made by a fast predator dinosaur, about the same size and shape as Coelophysis. And here we actually go over what a positive and a negative track is. When an animal steps into soft mud, the resulting impression was a mold of the foot, a positive track. So there would be your mold. Mud which filled in the positive track made by a natural cast is the negative. So that's when mud fills it in and you pull it up, and that's the extruding part. So here we go over what a dinosaur is. We have 2 types, Ornithischian and Saurischian. Ornithischian meaning bird hip, as you can see right there. Hang on, laser pointer's acting up. The ischium and the pubis, kind of in that angle. While Saurischian, you have the ilium and the pubis, kind of in that, or the ischium in the pubis. The ilium is the giant flat part up top. So that is kind of going over what a dinosaur is. Their legs are under their hips. They break off from archosaurs into their own area. That's a pretty good indicator. There's some other things that help, like kind of the idea of like warm-blooded, cold-blooded is kind of an argument. But here, we actually have one of the first dinosaurs you would come across, Coelophysis. This is one of your earliest first dinosaurs. You have that Saurischian hip, long snake tail, long weird serpentine neck, theropod-like face, elongated sharp teeth, very quick on its feet, very agile. This is longer than this, so it's most likely a pursuit predator or just quick on its feet because it was pretty tiny. But this is whenever you start to see the rise of the dinosaurs and things like that. And this is where you actually just see the dinosaurs. Here we actually have a recreation of what I'm willing to bet is supposed to be a Coelophysis of some kind. So this is what the skin on the Coelophysis would have most likely looked like. They probably wouldn't have been feathered by this time. Most likely just having a lot more scales. If anything, a little bit more like fur or something similar to like a modern elephant. So that is what this is a beautiful recreation of a Coelophysis. This is a beautiful fossil of a Coelophysis.
I'll go over the feet.
Okay, so here we have a timeline of the history of the planet. It does great to illustrate the story of dinosaurs and that specific era of life on Earth. The story of dinosaurs is an amazing story because they started out as small little reptiles, like pseudo dinosaurs, like archosaur forms that lived alongside like apex predators like Dimetrodon, Prostosuchids, and things like that back in the Triassic and Permian. Then we move into the Jurassic, where all the large reptiles go extinct, and then the dinosaurs take over and go into a myriad of different forms, shapes, sizes. We've got giant sauropods, we've got armored stegosaurs, we've got little, small, fast little carnivores and giant carnivores like Allosaurus. That's just the Jurassic. Then it kind of tapers out into the Cretaceous, where we have some of the largest and strongest land predators and land herbivores in the history of the planet. to ever walk the earth. And it's honestly my favorite time period because it's got T-Rex and Triceratops, but that's besides the story. All of this time from top to bottom took over 140 million years. And that's hard to explain, but that's like a blink of an eye geological time scale. But compared to us, it is an insane amount of time. And it's hard to wrap your head around, but that's one thing that's fascinating to me, that they survived for so long and had so many different forms, shapes, sizes, colors, everything like that. There's always something new to learn about these amazing creatures. Here we have a wild Dilophosaurus in its natural habitat over 120 million years ago in the early Jurassic period of what is now Connecticut. Okay, so here we got Dilophosaurus. It was a very large carnivore for its time, the early Jurassic period, over 120, 130 million years ago, and it was about 1 to 2 tons in weight and about 30 feet long from tip to tail. The amazing thing about Dilophosaurus is, that it wasn't the Jurassic Park Dilophosaurus. So what you can see here is it was much larger than you see in Jurassic Park. It didn't have the frills, it didn't have the spit, didn't have all that. It was just big and mean, which is honestly a lot cooler than a tiny little lizard spitting on you. But that's just my own personal opinion. Now, this depiction of Dilophosaurus is a little outdated, but it's just because of new science. The crests are a little bit too small. It should have lips, and then its wrists are broken. Its palms should be facing each other, like it's eternally clapping until the rest of the time. But I guess this one broke its wrist at one point. Now you can see up here in front of it, up above it, we have a couple of Dimorphodon chasing a small little dragonfly, probably like the last of what Meganeura's children gone forever. They were very small, as you can see, for pterosaur standards. They were about the size of your average hawk, and they would go after things like insects, small mammals, reptiles, maybe even like Dilophosaurus eggs. We don't know. It's just estimation. But those were only 2 of the myriad of amazing creatures in the early Jurassic. There were also Plateosaurus. There were also early thyreophorans like Stegosaurs, maybe some Ankylosaurs, small prosauropods as well, like Plateosaurus. It was an amazing ecosystem, as you can see in the amazing mural behind me. And there's a prosauropod right over there on the left, where a small relative of Plateosaurus, and some other ornithopods right down there. Whoever was the artist that did this did an amazing job showing the amazing diversity of the environment here.
So here we actually have an Albertosaurus, which is actually from Alberta, Canada, surprisingly. Beautiful crest here, Tyrannosaurus relative, big teeth, thick jaws for consuming. CT. Rock Hill Machine Shop. I don't think we really have a plaque for this to say exactly what it is, so my guess is Albertosaurus. Here we actually have some other really cool models. This is what the early Triassic would have looked like. So you have those early prosauropod kind of fellas around. A lot of large crocodilian relatives. You start to see the rise of the first trees, but you also have these weird things that are still around. You have a lot of the little tiny guys walking around, and still some theropods, if you can try and get that over there on camera, over on that side. You do still have some theropods on scene. If we keep going here, we have a lot of really cool fern and plant fossils that are really important because those are what makes up the ecosystem. That's how you can discover what kind of animal would have survived better in certain ecosystems, because without plants, you can't have herbivores, and without herbivores, you can't have carnivores. Here are some more plant fossils. Here is a rhizoan. It almost looks like a weird looking lizard, but it's not. It is still a plant. I think they find a lot of plants here. Here again, we have some fish fossils. What is this? That is a mollusk burrow. So you have some mollusks burrowing there. 3 is a coprolite, which is dinosaur dung. Here we have a bunch of fish from a fossilized lake or riverbed kind of system there. Here we also have some more massive fish. So up there we have a fish coprolite, but then this is an entire fish. You can see its fins kind of embedded in there. If you can try and get down here, this is what a fossil lake would have looked like. So you would have had the fish, you would have the mollusks and the clams and things. The fish would poo, and then the poo would hit the bottom, and dirt would cover it, and it would actually turn into basically a concretion kind of thing where minerals and things seep into it. So you'd actually get it fossilized. But you'd have the fish, they'd fall to the bottom, they'd fossilize if they weren't eaten. Mollusks fossilize surprisingly, I would assume surprisingly well, because they literally bury themselves. So all they need to do is be more covered. If we come over here, we actually have the early the proto-mammals that were discovered here. So you have these very tiny tracks for this mammal here, which is a Oligocophus. We don't know exactly who made the Amichidus tracks. However, a good candidate is this Oligocophus, which is what this little thing looks like, Oligocophus. Really weird looking mammal, one of those first very, very early mammals. Now we look at the main reason why we are summoned here, the trackway. If you guys remember from my Dinosaur Ridge episode, they had the giant wall of tracks. This is very similar to that. You have probably hundreds and hundreds of tracks here. Probably just, I would say probably 300 tops. It's probably more than that. This here is, so you can kind of point out where some of these tracks are, where something would have walked. That's one pathway. This one is another trackway of where something would have walked. And this one, again, is another trackway. So here we have a lot of the early Jurassic, late Triassic things. So you still have a lot of these very early proto crocodilians kind of situation going on. But we also have our Dilophosaurus over there. You have Dilophosaurus, but you also have things like prosauropods, early sauropods, possible pterosaurs. So these tracks down here are likely your theropods, so Dilophosaurus, Eobrontis, things like that. A lot of these big rounded ones, so these are likely your prosauropod looking tracks. I can't really see them that well from this angle, but these are likely your prosauropod tracks kind of situation going on there. There's big old bulking pre-sauropod kind of things that turn into your sauropods, giant hulking tracks. If we actually come over this way, if we switch to this side, here down here, we have our better look at those Eobrontis / Dilophosaurus tracks being left there. These are your theropods, your apex predators of the ecosystem. These are these big boys. That's that big boy. That's their tracks. They call them Eobrontis here. I'm genuinely curious if there is that big of an anatomical difference between Dilophosaurus and Eobrontis. If we come over to this side, these are some weird looking tracks. They look a lot more scuttly, where that one looks like a traditional theropod. I'm willing to bet you actually get some of those early crocs, or those proto-crocs that were ruling the ecosystem during the late Triassic still. If you still see some of them, especially here, buried in here. So like Dinosaur Ridge, you'll actually see things like ripple marks nearby, because this was near the coast at that time. So you'll actually see ripple marks. They're kind of hard to see, but you can kind of see them around. You start to see the rise of the dinosaurs here, the early prosauropods, big old thick tracks there. You have the actual, or not protheropods, prosauropods, and you have the actual theropod tracks. But you'll also possibly, if you look close enough, see some scuttle and scratches from possible crocodilomorphs and crocodilians. And I think that's a very beautiful thing, because that shows the ecosystem in a much more active way. So this was believed to be a shallow shore environment. So you do get a lot better fossilization, since think about like a beach, how much sand is immediately deposited and how quickly something can be buried. That's exactly what's happening. That's why preservation is a lot better here. you get a very anoxic environment, not a lot of vegetation and things like that. It's not really anoxic, there's still exposure from the oxygen, but it's buried very rapidly because of the shore. The waves will bring stuff in, which is also why you get ripple marks from the water coming in and out. But things bury fast. But you do see a lot of the late Triassic, early Jurassic ecosystem here, and a lot of beautiful fossil tracks. So if you get the chance, definitely come here. Come here and check it out for yourself. So here we actually have a really cool hallway with a lot of tracks that they have. This here is our Eobrontis, not exactly Dilophosaurus, but very closely related to Dilophosaurus in the way it looks. This is what we're getting a true cast of. If we turn around here, we have Tyrannosaurus rex, the king of the dinosaurs, not found on the East Coast. This track is likely imported from somewhere. But this is a beautiful track there. Here we have Archosaurus and Batropas, which look to be some kind of crocodilian relative there from Yale. And Ichthyosaurs. Here we actually have a really cool fish fossil of Diplurus. This is actually a Diplurus coprolite is what it looks like. So this is Diplurus's poo-poo in there. Here we have Anampus, which is a small ornithopod-looking creature there. So you have their little footprints here. Ornithopods are very odd because their footprints similarly resemble theropods better than a lot of other stuff. Get closer, show this one. So you still see it kind of almost looks theropod-like. That is because those early dinosaurs all had 2 legs before they split off. The ornithopods turn into things like Triceratops, Edmontosaurus, depending on who you ask, possibly a sauropod. Very complicated. That one's also Saurosuchi, and that can get very weird. But theropods were also on 2 legs, but they just stayed on 2 legs. If we keep going here, we have Garlator, which is a ichnogenus, Garlator, which means stilt walker, was established in 1858 by Hitchcock. These prints are typically no longer than 6 inches in length. The toes are quite slender, and at the center toe here, to be longer tracks found in the Connecticut Valley. These tracks may have been made by a Podokesaur, a small, agile early Jurassic theropod known from partial skeleton discovered in 1918 in South Handle, Massachusetts. This dinosaur was similar to much better known Coelophysis, a late Triassic theropod dinosaur from the American Southwest. And this would have been a relative of Coelophysis.
Wiggle it off, and this has like a spring release, like a cake pan, so you'll just take it off. So just
cool.
Take the sides. I also have yep, there you go. Stop. And then we'll,
Look at that.
very
It's ahead of you.
So we're gonna snap those off. And then, see this?
Yes.
You're gonna pull this back.
Well, careful. Maybe snap off the excess first.
It'll come right off.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Oh, careful.
Don't break it, man.
Cool. And there you go.
Perfect.
So it's still a little damp, so just keep it very dry while it continues to set. But that is more or less all set.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
That's awesome.
That's amazing. Oh. Yeah.
I like that gray one in my car.
Yeah.
I have
Hold on a minute.
That's what I was wondering, like, if they're gonna put things in the house, because we don't have a house, it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, I did my initials.
nice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it does go long.
Yeah.
My plan is,
Thank you. You're probably gonna have to like really take this and like scrape that. Yeah, just chip that out.
Because we have 25.
It's not do.
Sorry, mine's a little bit difficult.
Yeah, it's fine.
It happens.
Yeah.
I should say. Also, what I say is backseat, wrap it up.
All right, that should be enough to be able to wiggle it off.
How old of these tracks been?
There we go.
So these were uncovered in 1966.
Were these like cut from there and put here, or were these?
Yeah.
I'm missing.
And same thing, find the spring release, and then you'll just have to pull. Just be careful when you do it. Yep.
Yeah.
And just you can kind of push it out.
Trying to protect your engraving on the back.
It's fine. The engraving's not the important thing. I just want the actual footprint to be fine. Oh my goodness. Wow.
I would assume it would be
Beautiful.
Look at it.
let it dry like normal.
Hello.
Yep.
That one came right off.
She was ready.
Nope.
Great.
Careful with that.
Okay.
Time for round 2.